Deuterostome animals differ from protostome animals by producing their digestive system with the anus first, then the mouth last. Deuterostomes consist of two major phyla: Echinoderms, which consist of sea stars, sea urchins, and sea cucumbers, and Chordates, which include the sea squirts, Tunicates, and vertebrate animals just like us. So phylum Echinodermata means prickly skin and includes 7,000 species of marine bottom-dwelling organisms. Echinoderms have pentaradial symmetry, where they can be divided into 5 planes. They have an endoskeleton made of calcareous ossicles, also known as bony plates, covered by an epidermis. Echinoderms are named for having spiny skin, which may be used for defense or reinforcement of the epidermis and endoskeleton. Many echinoderms have a central disc that contains the digestive and nervous organs and arms that extend to these structures, as well as house reproductive organs. Echinoderms have tube feet, exclusive to this group, that can be used for movement, feeding, attachment to substrate, and chemical sensations. Echinoderms have a water vascular system derived from the coelom, which pushes water throughout the animal for locomotion, feeding, respiration, transport of food and waste, and attachment to a substrate. So a madreporite is found on the aboral surface, which draws water in and regulates the movement of water inside of this animal. There's a central ring in the center with radial canals going to each arm. Tube feet extend or contract by the water pressure in the system from the radial canals and can be used for feeding and touch. Individual tube feet are controlled by a bulb-like ampulla. The nervous system is made of a nerve ring in the center with 5 radial nerves into the arms. No brains are found in this group, but some species may have sensory organs. Digestion starts at the mouth on the oral side, then goes through a short esophagus into the stomach. The stomach can actually be everted outside of the animal to feed. Throughout the arms, there are pyloric ceca that both digest and distribute food to each arm. Excretion is performed via diffusion from cells into the water inside the sea star, and the water leaves via the madreporite. Echinoderms are dioecious with external fertilization. Even though this group is pentaradial, their larvae begin life with bilateral symmetry. Echinoderms are also asexually reproduced via fragmentation and regeneration, with up to 75% of the body lost. There are 5 classes of echinoderms, the most well-known being class Asteroidea, also known as the sea stars. With over 1,800 species, they come in a variety of shapes, sizes, and colors. All sea stars have thick arms that radiate from a central disc with body systems branched into the arms. They contain simple eyes and touch receptors and use tube feet for gripping prey and crawling. Sea stars are carnivores, using its tube feet for manipulating bivalve shells into opening and secreting digestive juices on prey before swallowing them whole by everting their stomach into the shell. They're very patient, as the stomach begins digesting the bivalve alive, weakening the adductor muscles inside the bivalve, causing the bivalve to fully open. Therefore, the sea star can have its lunch. Class Ophiuroidea, also known as the brittle stars, are very similar to sea stars, except the central disc is pretty conspicuous next to the slender arms. These arms are quite flexible and muscular. They do not use the water vascular system for movement, instead muscular tissue. Next group is class Echinoidea, known as the sea urchins, sand dollars, sea cookies, sea biscuits, etc. They have no arms, but the pentaradial configuration is modified to a fused test. Sea urchins have actual spines, with some being poisonous to humans. Sand dollar spines are not as pronounced. Both groups use tube feet for cleaning the body's surface. The next group is crinoids, which include the sea lilies and feather stars. This class is mostly sessile, and they are suspension feeders. The feathers of these groups are highly branched, with tube feet used to capture food and send it directly to the mouth. Crinoids are the most ancient of echinoderms and were dominant in ancient oceans. They now compose of 600 species. Holothuridia, known as the sea cucumbers, appear to evolve back into bilateral symmetry due to the extended oral and aboral surfaces lying horizontally. Tube feet are only found on the side of the animal that allows for movement. And some sea cucumbers have clusters of tentacles around the mouth where they feed on detritus or act as suspension feeders. So while the majority of chordates are vertebrates, there are some invertebrate examples. Regardless, all chordates share these four features that appear at some point during development. 1. A notochord, which helps support the dorsal hollow nerve cord. There are pharyngeal slits, and finally, a post-anal tail. Chordates consist of three clades: Chordata, known as the Tunicates; Chordata, known as the Lancelets. And these encompass your invertebrate chordates, while the rest of the chordates are vertebrates, which are animals with backbones. The first of the two invertebrate chordates is subphylum Chordata, also known as the Tunicates. There are 1,600 species of chordates worldwide, named for the tunic, a clearish outer coating that protects the underlying organs. The adults do not possess a tail, notochord, or dorsal hollow nerve cord, but the larvae have all chordate characteristics. Tunicates are monoecious, and larvae hatch from eggs inside of the adult tunicate body. The larvae will then swim until it finds an appropriate place to plant itself onto a substrate. At this point, only the pharyngeal slits remain in adults. Most tunicates are sessile and filter feeders, but some live in colonies. Their primary food sources are plankton and detritus. These animals are found worldwide, mostly in and around coral reefs and tidal pools. The other invertebrate chordate group is subphylum Chordata, known as the Lancelets. As adults, they possess all four chordate characteristics. The notochord extends into the head region, which is the namesake of this species. Named for the blade-like shape and being only a few centimeters long, they are generally filter feeders that embed themselves into the sand and collect food particles that pass by. As mentioned previously, invertebrates make up 95% of the animal kingdom. Now we're going to get into subphylum Vertebrata.